Welcome to the Female Founderhood podcast. This is basically you eavesdropping on my conversation with fellow female founders. We are going to be talking, gossiping, ranting about how it is actually never easy to be a founder who is female. With me today is Angela Orora Medway-Smith. She is a spiritual mentor and life and soul alignment coach. Oh, I need that. A spiritual channel, author of so many books. Oh my God. A teacher, master healer, retreat producer, and multiple #1 bestselling author. I was envious when I saw other people winning her book at this fantastic retreat that Angela and I attended. So she is known actually as the practical mystic. Oh my God, I cannot wait to talk to Angela because in in this modern world in 2023, a lot of people say, oh, it's too woo woo. It's too, whereas on the other side, people are flocking to India, to Bali, to actually learn to be a yogi, to be in the forest, meditate, and so on. So the East meet West or versus West culture is now really, really meshed. And let's ask the first question to Angela. Why did you choose to start this type of business?
Hi, Rebecca. I've been in business now for 7 or 8 years. My business is called Cariad Spiritual. And Cariad's a Welsh word that means love. Over 30 years ago, I'm giving away my age now, I was taught spiritual healing by a wonderful lady called Betty Bolcom, who was very famous in the 80s. Basically, I spent 7 years in circle with Betty. Then I had to do stuff to pay a mortgage, raise my family.
Mhm.
And when I got to the point where I had a choice, I just turned to my husband and said, look, I just don't want to work for anybody else anymore. I want to do the things that make my soul sing. I want to teach healing. I want to help people to be the best versions of themselves that they can, not just by using traditional coaching methods, because for 30 years I've been a manager senior manager in the charity sector, in corporate. And so I've done the whole coaching, mentoring, traditional way. So I introduce different aspects of spirituality and in order to help people align with their soul's path. But initially my business was so much more than this, because there was nobody in my area that was running mind, body, spirit shows. So because I had experience as 10 years as an event organizer, I decided I was going to start some festivals, as you do. So I did this for quite a few years at the beginning to start off with as well. And I started some amazing festivals and fairs in my hometown in Wales, which enabled people to come along and experience holistic healing. And it loads and loads of workshops as well, which allowed parents to go along to workshops while somebody else had the kids and took them to another workshop, and you could swap about. And I made it so that everything was affordable, so that people in my hometown had access to the learning, they had access to the workshops, they had access to experiencing healing, energy healing for the first time as well. So there have been lots of different variations of my business over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the presentation
But
or
in the last 30,
yeah. Sorry, I meant
sorry, darling.
the format or the presentation probably is different, but the through line is that you're coaching or facilitating their healing through spirituality. Is that correct?
Yes and no, I'm really practical about it.
Right.
So I'll use spiritual tools for practical
Mm.
outcomes.
Okay, tell me more about,
So,
especially for those who are doubtful.
okay. Well, I'm sure there's nobody that's listening that hasn't had an experience
Mhm.
of deja vu, who
Right.
hasn't had an experience of serendipity, you
Mm.
know, and as much as you try and ignore it and think, oh gosh, that can't be,
Mhm.
these are signs from our guardian angels, from our guides, and from the spirit in general who are there supporting this. We've actually got a whole cheerleading squad in the spirit world who are supporting us.
Wow.
And I can access your cheerleading squad. That's the beauty of it. So
Mm.
I can use tools like mediumship and dowsing and working psychically
Mhm.
to work with individuals
Mhm.
in a structured way. So it's not a woo-woo way, it's a
Yeah.
structured way
Yeah.
using spiritual tools. So, I'm very practical. I ran a charity for people with mental health problems for nearly 20 years. I've been an area manager for a corporate company and had 300 staff. I'm not inexperienced in supporting people to be the very best they can.
Mhm. And do you have a story about a transformational experience that your client have, the one that you're very proud of?
Oh, I've got loads.
I
I
know.
don't even know where to
I
begin.
know. Choose like the most, like someone who joined your workshop or hire you one on one. Um, that was that saw
Okay,
herself
okay,
as desperate and hopeless, and then yeah, the biggest transformation.
okay. Well, there are a couple of ladies because I work with men as well. There are a couple of ladies who I can think of who immediately come to mind when you say that, and one of whom came to my intuitive development classes because I used to run a 22-week intuitive development class back in my hometown. I've moved from Wales to London now, so I don't run that course anymore. And right at the beginning, this lady would not say boo to a goose. Absolutely not. She mistrusted all this. Physically, she was quite unwell. She mistrusted all the signs she was getting,
Mhm.
and I helped her actually trust herself, trust her own intuition. And so she's gone from strength to strength and is a teacher herself now. So that's a big one. There's another lady that I worked with who'd, um, I don't want to give away who this person is, so I don't really want to be who'd had major trauma in her life. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
Um, horrendous,
Mhm.
horrendous trauma. And I worked one on one with her to put her life back together and create a plan
Mhm.
going forward. And again, I'm just absolutely thrilled with where this young lady is at the moment
Mhm.
because her life has completely changed, completely turned around. I mean, you have to do the work yourself. There's
Yeah.
no easy ride here.
Mhm.
But when you are given the tools,
Mhm.
because this is what I do as well, is I give people the tools as
Mhm.
well as the structure to work within,
Mhm.
then then you can't fail to to thrive. I mean, I use the term to be the butterfly and soar. So so to really embody your sovereign self and who you're meant to be here, who you're meant to be on this planet in this incarnation.
Yeah. And the trend these days is that a lot of Westerners go to the East to find healing, to find themselves, to get through their spiritual seasonal journey, however they want to label it. But what's your thoughts about the trend that the Western world was the beginning, or started the whole religion thing with Catholicism, Christianity, and then for the longest time it became secular, and then recently it became so spiritual again. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual." Why do you think the trend is coming to the East these days?
I'm not sure everything is to the East. I think it depends where you are, because I've got a retreat coming up in Costa Rica in 2025. So a lot of people in the States go down to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I've run retreats in the Dominican Republic. I've
Mm,
taken people on retreats to Greece,
right.
and this year I'm on the Mediterranean island of Gozo running a retreat.
Yeah.
So I think it depends what you're looking for. Now, yoga's really popular. I love yoga myself. It's absolutely a fabulous thing to get to be present in your body. And actually, yoga does bring a lot of people to other parts of spirituality. I mean, on a personal level, I call myself an omnist, because I take the practices from lots of different world religions, and I take the ones that I want, because literally there's a golden thread that runs through them all, that is, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So providing you live your life by that rule, you're a spiritual person. You're not a spiritual person if you go to church on a Sunday and then do nothing else, and that doesn't make you a spiritual person. That makes you somebody who goes to church on a Sunday. As a child, I went to church 3 times on Sunday. So, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's wonderful. It's beautiful to be in that kind of environment, where people are praising.
Yeah.
It's just the messages in some religions have got a little bit missed, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
Yeah, but
what is then, do you have, when you say you are a medium, what does
yeah.
that mean explain to a layman, what does that mean?
Okay. So, right, I'll explain initially the difference between a psychic and a medium.
Yes.
So a psychic I'm both. So a psychic is somebody who can sit with you and use traditional tools, or maybe not, and they pick up information from you. Okay. So they're working with what the information that's in your auric field, the electrical field that's around your body, that stores and holds lots of information, not just about this life, but about past incarnations as well. A medium is somebody who is able to communicate with people who don't have bodies. Right, that's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
So they're able to communicate. Mental mediumship, which you'll see in lots of spiritual churches, is the ability to receive messages from, say, the dearly departed,
Yeah.
and pass those on to other people for comfort, which is fabulous, and it's an amazing thing to do. It's something I did myself, but it wasn't something I was particularly, how can I put this? There's a lot of pressure if you're stood there on platform and you've got all these faces looking up at you expectantly, and then you're giving messages and nobody takes them. It's really strange. So these days I work in a different way. I work as a light trance medium. Now, there are lots of different types of mediumship.
Yeah.
So a trance medium is somebody like Abraham Hicks. You heard of Abraham Hicks?
No.
No. Okay. So basically, I'm able to shift my consciousness out and allow higher beings to use my voice and my upper body. That's my deal. Those are my boundaries to give messages. So I work with the Ascended Master and Archangelic realm. So when I'm teaching, particularly when I'm teaching healing or doing attunements, then very often they'll pop in. I pop out and they pop in with messages. So 2 of my books are channeled books, which means that I've moved out, they've moved in, and they've given lots of messages. So in terms of, so 2 of my books are channeled books, and I've also channeled a healing modality as well. So shall I talk about those? Because it kind of makes sense. It moves on.
Yes, I want to know, what does that mean?
Okay.
What was the last thing that you said? I'm just so entranced with all this. Is everything that you mentioned is so new to me, even though I grew up in Indonesia. Like, and within my country, there's so many ethnicities, ethnic group, and tribes that has their own beliefs and their own rituals when it comes to their dearly departed, their ancestors, and we have our own tales. But I guess because I grew up in a big city, in a metropolitan city, everything is so fast. Everything is like, if it's not concrete, if you cannot touch it, just move on. But at the same time, right? But at the same time, when you're being present, there's so many things that can come to you from, inspiration, ideas. Those are not tangible. You cannot touch them, right? Dreams and
I know. I mean, I know a lot about the temple ceremonies in Indonesia, because that's one of the locations that a friend of mine and I were looking to do a retreat. And I know that the priests channel, so basically people work as channels in different ways for different reasons at different times. And there are many, many people who channel. I particularly work with the Ascended Master Saint Germain, and through him, so these are his books. Ta-da! So the book of many colors is about the divine rays that we all have access to, that we can use for personal development. So this book teaches you how to awaken your soul's purpose. You can pick it up, work it out, work with all the different patrons and archangels and archangelic collectives, and understand why you're here. So the second channel book is called The Book of Many Flames, and that's about the sacred flames and how you can use those for healing, for yourself, for others, and for the planet itself. So everything I do, my soul's purpose is to make energy healing available to all and promote holistic wellness worldwide. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. And I also started a non-profit for this, to do this as well.
What is it called?
And it's called Divine Energy International.
Okay.
And it's a body that supports healers.
Yeah.
and it promotes energy healing worldwide. So we're in our infancy at the moment. We've only just opened up our membership, but there's a whole load of trustees who are working together to make this possible.
Wow.
So yes, channeling is something else. And actually, as a medium, it's, for me, it's so easy. I know it sounds really strange, but
When did
I
you
don't know. With
you
so many,
when did you
how did I
find
find out?
that you're a psychic and that you can be a medium yourself?
Okay, so even when I was a little girl, I was able to see spirit.
Mm,
Many children can. Um, and what happens then when you're about 6, 7 years old? A part of your brain brain actually grows and takes over from the intuitive part. Yeah.
mm,
So it actually, when I was 19, I moved to London,
mm,
and a couple of years later, I had an experience with my first teacher, and basically everything switched on.
yeah.
Absolutely everything. It was quite a terrifying experience
Mm,
because she didn't know what to do with me. And basically, I was on the underground and I could feel everybody's pain. It was a really quite a
mm,
scary experience, because that's when I'm a healer. When I work as a healer, that's what I do, is
mm,
I'll temporarily feel somebody's pain, and then I'll channel some energy to help
mm,
shift that in the simplest sense.
yeah.
So she then sent me to her teacher,
Um,
so which was the lady I was talking about earlier.
mm,
So the first time I taught was back in 1990 in Australia, and I taught intuitive development and self-healing, because I believe everybody should understand how to access these beautiful energetic frequencies to
mhm,
help themselves, you know?
mhm. Yeah.
I've
It's
kind of
it's
blown your mind, Rebecca. We've gone completely
I'm
off
like,
track, haven't
oh
we?
my God, I need to order one. So one question before my last question. So back when I was 24, so almost 2 decades ago, there was a psychic that used a aura photography, and it
Uh-huh.
captured, and then she said that I have an indigo color. Now, I don't remember what she was saying, but what would you interpret that
Okay.
as? What does indigo colored aura means?
Okay. So auroric field changes all the time,
Right.
literally every minute, as we're moving, as we're thinking, as we're changing what we're doing. Now, if you, it's very common sense. When you are using your intuition, you're using your third eye, you're using this
Mhm,
chakra here, which is
mhm.
coloured indigo. So at the very moment that photograph was taken,
Yeah.
indigo would have been the predominant colour within your aura. So
Right.
you were tuning in intuitively to something, yeah?
Right.
Or you could have been tuning into her, tuning into you. So
I
if I
see.
give you another example,
Mhm,
I've had loads of aura photographs taken, and
mm,
the first time I had one done, literally
mhm.
I was sat in the chair waiting to have this photo taken, and a few yards away, a lady fell off a chair.
Yeah.
And so there were loads of people around her checking in on her. And I just sat there and thought, right, okay, I'm going to send some healing. So
Mm,
when I got my aura photographed, my whole aura, I'm covered in green, which
mm,
is the color of the heart chakra, which was the healing color I was sending out to her, because I was consciously sending her, this
right.
color, the color of this book. So if you see that photograph, you'll
Mhm.
see, you can see that I've been healing. And I use it as an example in some of my classes to show people, and the different photographs that I've had done over the years as well,
Uh,
to see what they can see in them, which is quite interesting. I also teach people how to read auras. It's quite fun.
mm.
It's quite
Yeah.
a fun thing to do.
I use it. I use the term aura loosely, not in that sense, but on a day-to-day basis, we always feel like when we meet someone new, when we're trying to, especially in the networking events, as we were mentioning, we are like trying to get a sense of the vibe of this person, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I always I always say, oh, that person has a really positive aura. That's not what I always say.
yeah,
Am I
yeah,
not using that term
yeah, yeah.
correctly?
No, you
Is
are,
that
because
oh, okay.
you are, no, it's a human thing. Yeah, it's a human
Yeah,
thing. Well, animals all have auric fields. Plants have auric fields. So
yeah.
the more, I mean, it's an incredibly beautiful thing to be able to see,
Mm,
when you can actually physically see somebody's auric field.
mm,
But yes, I mean, that person is putting out a vibration, because we all put out a certain vibration, and that'll change over time,
mm,
as we consciously decide
mhm.
to change it. Or if you're in a really grumpy mood, then you've got a really low vibration, etc.,
Right.
etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and your aura will shrink down if you're
Mm,
closed up. So beautiful, shiny, happy, healthy aura will emit from somebody who's got a lovely vibration,
I see.
and who, is emitting joy, basically.
Yes, sparkling joy.
Oh, there
So,
was so much joy. There's so much joy that day. It was absolutely beautiful. It was
exactly.
palpable. You could feel it. Mm.
Yes, yes, you can. I wish I could put it in a bottle and bring it home,
Yeah,
and sniff it
yeah, yeah.
whenever I need it. So my last question to you. So, in a hypothetical world where Angela is the ruler of the world, you can create your ideal life, complete the sentence. When I'm king.
When I'm king, children will be taught to take responsibility for their actions. And when they grow up to be adults, we will have peace.
Oh, that is beautiful. Amen to that. Thank you so much, Angela,
Yeah.
for your beautiful interview today. I look forward so much to chatting with you on DM about all sorts of this aura, because I am fascinated and I'm sure you will be able to answer all of my curiosity. When you are king, everything, all children will take responsibility and grow up to be peaceful adult. I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It starts with the children. They're our future.
Amen to that.